Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Dive Into Diet. I'm with the star of the show, Lucas Schmidt. What's going on, man?
Oh, I'm dressed for the occasion.
He is dressed for the occasion.
I am dressed for the occasion.
You know, we also
see this? This performance.
Look at that.
Oh my goodness gracious!
You're
Product placement.
You're Chef Lucas today.
That's right.
Chef Lucas.
I wouldn't go that far.
One thing that we get a lot of questions about is dressing. I know you've talked a lot about it because hidden bad stuff can be in dressing.
Dressings are kind of I think people think of salad as like one of the healthiest foods. You know, I'm gonna have a salad today. I'm gonna be healthy. Salad with some chicken on top or whatever. Well, I won't address the ingredients in the salad today. We're just talking about the dressing. So whether you think salad's healthy or not, whether you tolerate it or not, greens, some people, their stomach doesn't agree with it. Fine. But it's generally considered a health food. Unfortunately, if you get a salad at a restaurant or a drive-through, the ingredients may very well be healthy. Maybe there's no croutons on it. Maybe it's mostly chicken, veggies, some fruit, maybe some fun things. That's all well and good, but usually when you eat out, even if it's at a health salad place, the dressing is sort of the hidden,
That's where they get you.
The hidden junk food part of the salad.
And yet we love it.
So I got some examples here. And no, I'm not attacking a specific restaurant. I reached in the fridge here at the office and was like, what do we got? I know there's to-go salad dressings up in here. So we got Chick-fil-A's Gardner Branch. I love Chick-fil-A before anybody.
I do too.
Okay. I'm not. And everybody's just as guilty as they are. When it comes to the dressings, it's just hard to do. It's hard to prepackage that dressing and make it. But I'm not going to read every ingredient, but I'm going to start with the ingredients in here. The first ingredient, and in case you didn't know, most of the time on a nutrition label, the ingredients are listed in order of prevalence. So however much of that, the first ingredient is usually the largest one.
Okay.
And then it goes down and it descends in size. So most of this dressing is soybean oil. Not a good start. Buttermilk, not the worst, but water. Hey, water. That's third. Sour cream. That's not the worst. Plain sour cream. However, in parentheses, it tells you what the sour cream's made of. And unfortunately, it's not pure sour cream. It's cream, modified cornstarch, lactic acid, gelatin, guar gum, monodiglycerides, sodium phosphate, acetic acid, citric acid. It's just an endless list. And that's just for the sour cream. It's like a sub-ingredient list. It's insane. And then we go down. We got some vinegar, some egg yolk, some salt, some garlic. No problem there. Oh, sugar added to this. So, long ingredient list. Not great. Not the worst I've seen, but not great at all. Next we go, oh, look, let me, some people, you ever heard this? I'm going to do a light dressing. I'm going to do a low-fat dressing. And that's usually zesty. They all talk like this way, too. I don't know, they don't really. But zesty apple cider vinaigrette. That sounds...
I love vinaigrette.
What does zesty mean? That sounds fun. First ingredient, soybean oil, yet again. Apple cider vinegar. That's a pretty good ingredient. That's great. Sugar. That's the third ingredient. That's not good. So that's what happens a lot of times on a low-fat dressing. You see, if it says low-fat, although this doesn't, to be fair, this doesn't mark low-fat. It's just Italian is usually sort of considered light. It's a lighter dressing because it's oil-based and vinegar-based, right? Oil is liquid fat, by the way. Sugar, though, is usually higher up on the list when you have a lower-fat dressing. To compensate for that lack of delicious fat, we got to compensate with something else delicious. Sugar, which to me is worse. So, nutritionally, I consider added sugar worse than added fat. Most of the time. Let's look at another one. We got a bottle here. This is Olive Garden. Boy, their dressing is good. I don't know if I want to read this. It's going to ruin it.
That never-ending salad at Olive Garden is
the first ingredient is water. That's fine. Okay, that's not bad. Water's great. We need it. The second ingredient, soybean oil. Distilled vinegar. That's fine. Vinegar's great. Sugar. Salt. And not bad. Eggs. Romano cheese. Garlic. Xanthan gum. Dextrose. Annatto color. It's like a food colorant. Calcium. Disodium. And natural flavor. So actually, I was expecting this to be worse. The soybean oil, I wish it wasn't that. I wish they used a better oil, you know. you're going to find soybean oil is the base oil for most every single pre-made dressing you find, unless you pay a lot of money for some fancy. There are some fancy dressings at the grocery store you can find. Shorter list though, it's not great.
But I can tell
the worst.
You're not like, you're kind of relieved. I feel
I'm not poo-pooing on Olive Garden is bad. There's still a little poo-poo here. All right, the last one. I absolutely despise ranch dressing because the taste, something about it bothers me. I have bad memories of it. Seeing kids in the lunchroom when I was in elementary school drowning every ounce of their plate in it.
Even with like fries. I've seen people put it on pizza.
It's like fries soup and pizza soup. Like the square or the rectangle pizza you got at school. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
They would like make a taco and fill the taco not with meat or cheese or lettuce, but with ranch and drink. Oh, ugh. Also, I just don't like the taste. Anyway, you buy ranch. Ranch, in theory, should be simple. It's like a cream-based dressing, maybe some herbs. That's sort of how it's marketed. Let's see if that's true. Hidden Valley's ranch. That's probably the most famous. Hidden Valley.
I would say it
classic. Vegetable oil, which is soybean or canola. Water, buttermilk, sugar, salt, egg yolk, and then less than 1% of the following, which I'm not going to read them all. It's a bunch of artificial stuff, preservatives. Not great, right? So even in the creamy dressing, we've got some added sugar. Not great. So how do we get away from all that? Well, you make your own dressing.
And can I say something?
So we're going to do that.
I do feel like the only way to have healthy dressing, based on what you're just saying, is to make your own.
Yeah, pretty much. I will say I have purchased, there's a brand, Primal Kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
You could check Primal Kitchen brand and see they have some dressings, and they're probably okay.
Yeah.
Not, again, it's still nothing beats making your own, but that's probably the best you could do.
Yeah.
If you're in a hurry, you buy some Primal. I think I've had their lemon. It's really good, really tasty. There weren't many ingredients in there. I was like, well. So let's talk about, like, I mentioned soybean oil and all of that, and I've talked about that in another podcast about, I think, fats and oils. We talked about one. I'm not a fan of them just because typically they're so heavily processed. They oxidize, which isn't
ones?
great. Soybean oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, all that business. They're oxidized mostly, so they're not great. The body kind of is like, well, here's some fat. What do I do with this? It's kind of just it can cause some inflammation. Not necessarily for everybody. You know, I don't jump on. There's no like one size fits all. I just tend to avoid those oils nutritionally. So the way to get it dressing. By the way, I told Ben before we started, I don't have any preconceived recipes. I'm just going to refer to for this. We're going to actually make it up on the fly as we go. I think it's fun, and to show you how easy it is to come up with your own dressings.
Well, and it's super realistic. It's like you use what you have.
Yeah, and I brought some spices and some ingredients I have in my pantry at home, although some of these I found in the fridge here. First of all, you could, in theory, use just vinegar as a dressing. It's going to be a little boring. It depends on your salad, but if you're desperate and you're like, I absolutely want no unhealthy things, vinegar's a great start.
Yeah.
I usually think of my dressing. So what is my base? Your base is usually a liquid, right? It is a dressing after all. So what's your base for your dressing? That's how I like to work when I do dressings. And usually you have a vinegar and a fat, right? So what's a good fat? What I've got here is extra virgin olive oil, classic, really great for a lot of reasons. An alternative to this that I don't have with us could be avocado oil. Doesn't really have a flavor though. Extra virgin olive oil has a bit of a flavor, which is nice. Okay. It's also pretty good for you. We've talked about olive oil. I'm not going to go into what to look for in olive oil. Refer to the other podcast for that. Save time. What's the other basic thing you need? Vinegar. This is like $1.80 at Aldi, this whole bottle. Very cheap. White vinegar is great because it doesn't have like another taste other than sour. So, you've heard probably the health craze is apple cider vinegar. That's all over the... Yeah. And that works. I don't have it with me. That works, but my issue with a dressing with apple cider vinegar is sometimes I don't want that apple-y sort of... I don't want that taste in my dressing. It doesn't pair well with a lot of things. You could make an apple cider vinegar dressing. Don't get me wrong. You could totally do that. It might be good on a salad with apples on it. But most of the time, I just use white vinegar. And if you're at a restaurant, they're going to have either white vinegar or red wine vinegar. So let's start with the simplest thing to do. Say you're at a restaurant, You don't want to order any of their pre-made dressings because you're trying to cut back. You can totally say, hey, I'd like a side of lemons for my water. They bring you these lemons all pre-sliced, ready to squeeze. And say, oh, could you bring me the little thingy that has the oil and vinegar in it? Now, still not perfect because the oil they're going to bring you is probably vegetable oil because it's cheap. But it's still better than the pre-made stuff that's got added sugar. So you get your oil and your vinegar. You juice your lemon on your salad, and then you just pour a little of each on your salad, a little sea salt. You've cheaply, at a restaurant, dressed your salad. Very easy to do. Tastes pretty good. I like the taste. I like simple tastes like that. So that's something you can do. But if you're at home, so let's say we want to make a dressing. I have a fancy stand for my microphone here. It's also known as a coffee mug. So there we go. Got the stand. I think we can still hear me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little baby thing because I'm not eating a salad today, so I don't want to make too much. Here's my base. What are we feeling? You feeling Asian themed? I have some Asian-y themed ingredients.
I definitely want to go Asian.
You want to try Asian first?
Yes.
So, still use the vinegar. We're going to use white vinegar, especially for Asian. I don't see a lot of red wine in Asian cooking. Yeah, it has a little bit more of a distinct taste.
So for the people listening on audio, you're pouring
white vinegar.
White vinegar into a cup here.
I found this soy sauce in the fridge. Now, soy sauce can be hit or miss with some of the ingredients. This is Kikkoman, pretty well-known soy sauce, and it's pretty simple on the ingredients. There's a little preservative in there, not my favorite. Not the worst, though. Soy sauce has a lot of sodium in it, so this is the lower sodium one, so whoever bought this was watching out for that. So soy sauce little goes a long way, so boop, that's all you need. And then I'm going to use, we can use an olive oil. Actually, no, we don't. So this is what makes it very nice. A little sesame oil. Maybe it's not something you have common in your pantry, but if you ever cook like fried rice or anything like that at home, you might have it.
Why is sesame oil bad in my head? Is it not bad or bad?
No, not necessarily. Depends.
Okay.
Sesame oil, sesamin has some. There's sesamin is a compound in it that's often unlocked when the oil is toasted. Oddly enough, it has some health properties to it. But a little bit, or excuse me, too much of anything can be bad. Okay. So I'm going to add a little bit of that. Sesame oil is very strong in flavor. I didn't measure anything. I just poured it in there. It's to taste. If you're going to go overboard on any part of this, though, go overboard on the vinegar. Okay. Like, now, if you're worried about too sour, then don't. But as far as health goes, nutritionally, if you add a little too much vinegar, it's not the end of the world because vinegar has no calories and it's fine. It's fine to ingest a good amount. So Asian dressing usually is kind of sweet and salty. So this is where we have an ingredient you may not have in your house. I happen to have some, though. So you don't have to sweeten it. This would be fine. We could add a little. I have some powdered ginger here. Add a little ginger in there. So what we got so far is white vinegar, a little sesame oil. I'm going to put a little powdered ginger in there. I hope this turns out good.
Me too.
It's flavors I've paired a lot. Sometimes in Asian food you have a little herbage. So this is an Italian seasoning. This is stuff most people have in their house. So I'm going to just put a little Italian seasoning. Some dried herbs. And then the last thing to make it fun, this is powdered monk fruit, which is, I've talked about monk fruit before in the podcast. It's a sugar-free, organic kind of sweetener. So honestly, the best thing is like a liquid version because it mixes easier. I don't have any liquid monk fruit. I grabbed what I had. So I'm going to add me some powdered monk fruit in there. That's about a regular spoon. I just scooped it in. We'll see. I've never made this tiny amount before. It might be like a dressing paste. Yummy, yummy. And I think it should taste okay. I'm going to taste it first, though, so, I can, pre-warn you. So what we've done so far is simple. I have put white vinegar. I put a little sesame oil, which you don't need a ton of. It's strong in flavor. It's also kind of pricey, so you don't want to use a ton. I put a little Italian seasoning, ginger powder, and some monk fruit. You don't want to add sugar. We're trying to avoid that. That's why we're making dressing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that. I got to do it again. I didn't get enough. Hang on. Yeah, that's pretty good.
What does it taste like to you?
Sweet and sour a little bit. It'd be good over something. I'll let you try it.
Okay.
It's a little different. I maybe next time would skip out on the Italian seasoning. Just no herbs in there like that.
Just because there's no need?
Yeah, no need. It's maybe too much flavors. Try it. You may not like it, and that's okay. Asian dressings are kind of hit or miss. I like it. I would use that on my salad. It's a very interesting journey of tastes.
I like that taste.
Okay.
It reminds me of an Asian dressing.
You get at a Japanese restaurant or something.
Yeah.
They give you the iceberg lettuce with your usually shrimp sauce. You just pour it up. You pour that instead.
Yeah, it's really good.
The sesame's strong.
It's strong. It's a strong flavor.
So now we'll do a more like Italian themed, like easy kind of general. Actually, let's do a barbecue-y one. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
It'd be good on like a Southwest salad. This is easier than the Asian. So, same base, vinegar. Now, this is one where apple cider vinegar might work.
Okay.
Barbecue-themed kind of apple cider would go with that. But you could use white. So paprika is something I think most people have, somewhere in their pantry, way back in there. They had to use it sometime. And that's the thing with spices. You get a recipe, it needs 1/8 of a teaspoon, and you buy a whole, I think that's going to last you 10
It's why
years.
I don't cook.
Yeah. So paprika has it's such a great smell. It's
interesting.
It's like a smoke.
It's
a smoked pepper, essentially. So we're going to pour some paprika in here. This isn't something I think people think to use in their dressings, like barbecue-y, but man, it's one of my favorite things in the world. So I added,
when I think barbecue, I don't think
teaspoon
paprika.
maybe in there. That's about a teaspoon. Now, this is the thing I haven't mentioned yet. This is the secret ingredient. Mustard is so awesome in dressings. I don't put it in Asian dressings usually, but a lot of dressings you want to have a touch of creaminess to them, but maybe you don't want to add milk or whatever, cream. This will make it like that. We're going to do that right now. So I'm going to squeeze a little Dijon up in here. Oh, I dribbled. That's fine. Whoop. That's all you need. A little Dijon. A little olive oil. And what we got? We got paprika, Dijon mustard. Do a little sea salt. Just a little sea salt. I just put it into the microphone. And a little onion powder. So most people have onion powder from a soup recipe or something like that. You could use garlic powder. Garlic doesn't necessarily agree with me that well, so I don't use it very often. Garlic's great. Minced garlic or powder is awesome in a dressing. I'm just going to mix this. This should be fine as is. Doesn't take much. You just whisk it with a fork. Dressing's going to separate if you let it sit, so you're going to have to stir it. I always stir it as I pour. So like I'm pouring my homemade, I get so it disperses evenly. So let me try that one. You okay does that bother you if I double?
No.
Okay.
No.
Smoky. It's good. It's like Southwesty. That's a lot. I should have used a little less vinegar, but it'll work. Try that. You're probably scared to.
That reaction.
So stir it a little bit and then get a little on your spoon. I should make something horrible and act like it's great just to get him to eat some on camera. See how well you act to be nice to me. Don't lie. If you hate that,
yeah, I'll tell you.
I like it, but my tastes are a little odd. Some of my friends tell me that. But it's like a lot of vinegar. We back off on the vinegar. But the later taste is pretty good. It's like a smoke.
The later taste is not bad.
It's like a barbecue-y flavor. So you'd put something like this on. You ever have like a salad with steak, like sliced steak on it, red onion, tomato, some Mexican cheese mix.
Yeah.
That would go well with that.
I liked it. Like I like a strong kind of tangy taste.
Yeah. And that's so. I have these lemons sitting here. These were just to demonstrate. Like another easy one is you can take a lemon, slice it in half. Here, I'll just do it. Might as well. I forgot my little juice cranker. So what you can do if you don't have one of those is before you cut it, is put pressure on it and roll it on your counter. What that does is breaks up a bunch of the pulp inside, and so now feel how squishy that is now.
That is crazy.
It's like very squishy, and so now when I cut it, the juice will just kind of fall out. The juices are still a little better because they catch the seeds, so I'm going to have to contend with seeds here. But now when I crush this, it should be a lot easier for me. Yeah, see, it's just kind of, I'm barely squeezing. All that juice is just falling out falling down my arm because I rolled it. I've had to do that, I'm at a relative's house or something and I want to make something and forgot or they don't have a juicer. So anyway, we're going to juice this fresh lemon. I'm going to put olive oil. You could use lemon instead of vinegar because it's sour. We'll try that, see how we like it. This is probably the simplest one. This is going to be good on an Italian salad or any kind of a little mustard. We're not going to put vinegar in this one. And I'm just going to, they'll commingle. Whisk this up. So look at the mustard. I don't know if that, you can see. They can't see, sorry. You just have to use your imagination. See how it's like cloudying up?
Yeah.
That is in a lot of like lemon dressings and stuff. If you get it at a restaurant and it looks creamy but there's no milk in it, it's probably mustard.
That's interesting. You would think it's like lemon, but it's...
Well, it's lemon too.
Right.
But with that white... See, it looks like I put a little like cream in there.
Yeah.
That's mustard. That's all it is. So this is going to be like a citrus vinaigrette. So I'm going to taste that. That's very nice. Try that.
Okay.
Here, let me get you a paper towel. Hang on. I'm leaving. Wipe your spoon off so you have that barbecue off there.
Okay.
And taste that. I think you'll like that. Very simple flavor, very fresh. That's probably my most common dressing that I would make for myself is I just juice a lemon, some olive oil. That alone would be enough. I didn't even add salt to that. You could add salt to it. You might want salt. I don't think it needs it, but...
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's like you just drown your food in that. It's great.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there. Olive oil's good for you. Lemon's great for you. Mustard isn't going to hurt you. It's got virtually no calories and no sugar. So it's mostly water, mustard seed, vinegar, and salt. So
let me ask. So basically, these are healthy ways to make your salads taste better.
Yep.
Do you put dressing on other foods as well? Like,
oh yeah, you can use
Like I feel like this would be a cool thing to put on anything. Like,
yeah, the citrus especially, you can marinate meat in that, or you could cook your chicken plain and dump that all over it afterwards while it's still warm. It would warm up and soak in. I don't have it with me, but balsamic vinegar is also a great. Balsamic vinegar.
See, when I think
goes by itself. You don't need anything else. You can just put it on your salad. It's awesome. But balsamic vinegar is easy because you could something I'll do if I'm in a hurry. If I've got some cooked chicken breasts in the fridge or something and they're cold, I'll take them out and shred the chicken. Just drizzle balsamic vinegar over top of it and a little sea salt, and it's really tasty. Maybe some olive oil too. But yeah, you could use any of these. This barbecue would be a good marinade for beef or pork. The Asian would work over like some chicken and rice. You just dump that right on top.
So what makes something like that a marinade? Would you just put that on prior to cooking it?
Yeah, a marinade is you just soak the meat in it for a couple hours or however long you want to marinate for. Some people would marinate food for overnight in the fridge.
Okay.
You just take your meat, put it in like a Ziploc bag, dump all that in there, and mush it around and zip it up, put it in the fridge for however long.
This is like, I'm fascinated by this one because you just whipped all this up and you can be kind of creative with it and you can find something that works well for you. And it gets rid of like a kind of a hidden
dressings are terrible generally. They're very hard to navigate around if they're pre-made. So I just got tired of dealing with it, so I just started playing in my kitchen.
Cool.
Playing with my food.
Well, Chef Lucas, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for
You're welcome.
opening up the table here. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I know this was a different format for Dive Into Diet. If you like it, put in the comments below. We'll do more stuff like this. We'll get Lucas opening up the fridge and, kind of mixing and matching some things that are healthy for us. Lucas, thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right. Is that a show?
That's a show.
That's a show. See you guys.
Don't go away.